Hello, friends. Welcome to a new episode of Talk Illini from Orange and Blue News, sponsored by the On3 Network. My name is Sonny Verma. I'm your host here on this brand new show. So if you are an Illini fan and you're not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so. We're going to produce more content for you on this channel, especially if you're an Illini fan. Between myself, JR, we're going to do previews, post games, do player interviews, all of that you're going to get right here. So make sure you've hit the like button on this video. Today, I want to discuss something that people thought we would not be able to discuss 2 weeks ago after that debacle against the Indiana Hoosiers. And that's going to be talking about Illinois' chances to possibly sneak back in to the college football playoff race. But first off, a wild one to unpack. Illinois is now 5-1, fresh off of a 43-27 road victory over Purdue. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like the college football conversation has a sprinkle of orange and blue fingerprints in it. Saturday wasn't just about Illinois winning. It was also about everyone else losing. Penn State gets stunned by winless UCLA. Texas goes down to the swamp and loses to Florida. And that caused chaos everywhere, my friends. The kind that blows the college football playoff race wide open. And when the smoke cleared, Illinois is sitting right there at number 17 in the AP and coaches poll, quietly climbing the ladder where other giants seem to be tripping all over themselves. Before we dive into the playoff math, let's recap how Illinois handled its business. At Ross-Ade Stadium, Illinois didn't just beat Purdue, they controlled them. Luke Altmeyer was surgical, 19 of 22 passing, for 390 yards. Hank Beatty went absolutely nuclear with 186 receiving yards himself, including a 62-yard bomb after JoJo Hayden forced a fumble, and even Khalil Valentine chipped in with 90-plus rushing yards. Caden Fagan, 2 touchdowns himself, and kicker David Alano tied a school record with 5 field goals, going 5 for 5. The second quarter, 27 points. That's how you put a rivalry game away and try to keep it that way. And with that, ultimately, Illinois retained the Cannon Trophy for the second straight year, something they had not done since 2002. So that's where we stand. Illinois is at 5-1, 2-1 in the Big Ten Conference, with signature wins now over Duke, over USC, and now over Purdue. The lone blemish, well, we all know, that wild loss to Indiana. Now layer in the chaos from Saturday, Penn State's playoff dreams taking a nosedive, Texas tumbling out of the top 10, and suddenly the 12-team college football playoff format becomes the great equalizer for teams like Illinois. In the old 4-team system, one September slip ended your season. But in 2025, it just kind of makes the story better. The new playoff system takes the 5 highest-ranked conference champions plus 7 at-large teams. That's huge. It means you don't have to win the Big Ten to dance. You just have to belong in the top dozen. Analysts ran the numbers, and if the 12-team setup had existed the past few years, 2-loss Power 5 teams would have made it roughly 72% of the time. That's Illinois' sweet spot. If they can take care of business down the stretch, they can finish 10-2, and they're right there. The committee is looking for teams that win big games and avoid bad losses. Look, bad losses at this point we can't control. Hopefully next week against Ohio State, they can compete and keep that game close and then ultimately trend upward in November. Illinois can check every one of those boxes, but it starts right now. Here's the under the radar advantage, the schedule. Phil Steele had Illinois' slate ranked 56th in difficulty. That sounds middle of the pack, but let's take a look at the names that are left on the schedule. Ohio State, Washington, Maryland. Those are all opportunities for resume wins. The committee cares about quality opponents, not just hypothetical strength. Duke now sitting at, I believe they're 4-2, undefeated in the ACC. Well, now that road win in Durham is aging beautifully. Beating USC, a brand name, a ranked team, a team that you were a touchdown underdog against, that's going to ultimately carry some serious weight. So when they start stacking resumes in December, Illinois is going to have what I like to call anchor. So let's map it out. Remaining schedule. You're talking about number one, Ohio State comes to town next week. Then you get a bye week. Then following the bye week, you're traveling to Washington, a place that's very tough to play. I think they've only lost once in 23 games at home. Obviously, it's going to be a very tough matchup. Then you get the Rutgers at home. Then you get Maryland at home. You travel to Wisconsin to play there. And then you have the last game, Northwestern, at home. Realistically, you can afford one more loss, preferably, of course, to Ohio State. Finish 10-2 with both losses to teams that by the end of the year could be top 5 teams. That's a playoff resume. Of course, again, as long as Duke, USC, maybe Maryland continue to rack up wins outside the Illinois game. And even without a Big Ten title game appearance, Illinois could absolutely slide in as an at-large, especially if chaos continues elsewhere. Remember, there's room for 4, maybe 5 Big Ten teams in this format. You could see Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana taking up 3 of those slots, but then you talk about maybe Illinois, maybe Michigan also being in the mix. The committee rewards teams that compete week to week. If Illinois' losses end up being to an undefeated Ohio State and a 10-2 Indiana, both ranked top 10, I don't think you're going to drop all that much. And then add wins over Duke, over USC, maybe Washington. And now you're talking about 3 very highly ranked victories. And the data shows that 2-loss teams with 3 ranked wins almost always make it to that 12. So the formula is actually quite simple. No upsets against Rutgers or Northwestern. You cannot lose those 2 games. Win the 50-50 games. And by 50-50 games, to me, it's Washington, who you probably are going to be an underdog in, and Wisconsin. You should be a favorite, but again, you're playing at Madison, and that's not going to be a very easy game. And then you just kind of sit back and let the Big Ten and the rest of the college football world cannibalize itself. Hope and pray that chaos ensues, just like we saw on this past Saturday. Speaking of this past Saturday, this is why the upsets matter. Penn State's loss to UCLA, a huge seismic shift. The Nittany Lions are now 0-2 in conference, meaning 1 fewer Big Ten team that Illinois is going to have to leap over. Texas falling to Florida takes a heavyweight out of the SEC mix. And now, suddenly, that playoff bubble looks more like Notre Dame, Georgia, and I'm going to mention it again, Illinois. But then also keep an eye on Duke, because if they keep winning in the ACC, every highlight reel that shows Illinois beating them 45-19, well, that becomes free national advertising. Here's a warning label. There's 0 margin for bad losses. You can lose to Ohio State next week. You can maybe lose to Washington at Washington, but you cannot stumble against Rutgers or Northwestern. You can lose to Ohio State next week, but that's just about it. Even Washington, a game that everybody knows is going to be very tough matchup. Unfortunately, if you want to stick with only 2 losses, you have to travel to Washington and win that game. And you absolutely cannot stumble against Rutgers or Northwestern. The committee calls those resume blemishes, and they weigh more than you think. If Illinois stays sharp, handles its business, and keeps winning convincingly, I think they have the potential to stay in that 8-12 range heading into Thanksgiving, right where they need to be, which is incredible. I can't believe that I'm saying this in early October, but Illinois football may very well control its own playoff destiny within reason. Bret Bielema has built a program that wins physical games, gets better as the season goes on, and they don't flinch at home. The cannon stays home. The offense is humming. Altmeyer is playing at an all Big Ten level, and the national picture is opening faster than anyone expected. Now, let's be real. You have to be really competitive against Ohio State, and you have to beat Washington. You have to beat Wisconsin to make these dreams into a reality. But They are in a prime position for the 12. And if they win all those matchups, oh boy, buckle up. So to sum it up, Illinois didn't just beat Purdue. They survived the chaos of college football Saturday. They're now 5-1, ranked number 17, respected, and now relevant in the national picture once more. Saturday proved that the playoff door is open wider than ever before. And if this team keeps its edge, if Bielema keeps the message tight and Altmeyer keeps slinging it, there's no reason Illini fans shouldn't start dreaming big. That's the beauty of the 12-team era. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be resilient. And right now, that's exactly what Illinois football is. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with me or not. Does Illinois still have an opportunity to make the college football playoff? If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on this video. Again, we're going to have a lot more content on all of Illini football and basketball this week. Big Ten Media Days take place in Chicago on both Wednesday and Thursday, and I will be there. I'll try to get you player interviews, possibly coach interviews. Again, if you're an Illini fan, this is a brand new channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I promise you won't regret it. Until next time, ILL.